Hello, hello, hello. Welcome everybody back to a brand new episode of 343. My name is AF. I am your co-host, joined by Jason and Riyaz. How you guys doing?
All good, man.
Good.
All good. Chilling.
Not too bad.
You Yeah, so we have quite a bit to talk about in this episode. The obviously the elephant in the room is the Liverpool versus Tottenham Hotspurs game, and
Hmm.
we'll get to that a bit later. But for right now, let's just have a bit of a review of the weekend's games, or the Premier League weekend games. Um, yeah, Jason. Did you manage to catch anything? Is there anything that caught your eye? Obviously, like bar the Liverpool Spurs game, because obviously we'll speak about that in detail a bit later. But anything else that might have caught your eye this past weekend?
Yeah, actually, I missed quite a bit. I went to go watch some live footy. So I went to Cape Town City against Cape Town Spurs. So I missed all that afternoon games. I did manage to see Kai Havertz scoring a penalty. So that definitely caught my eye. I think it caught everybody's eye, that sympathy penalty. I don't care how it goes. Um, yeah, I think it was quite a big moment for him to finally get it. And it's not to say that he didn't have chances, but it's still you have to score it, right? And he's obviously done that well. Sunday, I think there was only the one game, right? If I'm not mistaken. So it was really all on that Saturday, and I think all of the drama was in that last game, and I actually didn't catch that as well. So I think it was a good weekend in the sense that my team won. But yeah, I just saw all of that controversy, and I think I would have been a bit outraged if I had to watch that Liverpool Spurs game just as a football fan because this thing is like causing more drama, man.
Yeah, yes. What about you?
Yeah, quite a few. I don't. First of all, I don't really like the fixtures like set like that. Like one on a Sunday and all like what was it 6 at one point in time. I don't. Really,
Mm.
I like a late game on either day. It's nice. It's nice to catch it because if you're busy in the afternoon, you can catch the late game. But some notable, obviously mentions from the weekend. City losing big. Finally, I'm so happy that Wolves were able to do it as well because we've been saying the whole season that Wolves have been playing so well but never getting the
Yeah,
results. And finally, they actually got the results against the champions, which was super surprising. But it just shows how tactically aware and tactically sound they are in their game plan. While the execution may not be up to scratch week on week, it just shows that the game plan and the tactics are there, especially when playing the top clubs. So I'm really happy that Wolves got that win. Unfortunately, City without Rodri don't seem the same team, which is weird to say because they have done so well in recruiting, like for like, for everybody who's left. But obviously, Rodri hasn't left, so they haven't filled that hole. So just for him to be suspended, there's a big hole in the middle. And Kovacic is good; he's a good player. So is Mateus Nunes, very good players, in fact. But it just shows the class and the actual world classness of the player that Rodri is. And then, of course, the United game, big result there as well. Crystal Palace beating United at Old Trafford. Interesting. Not too sure what's going on there. No alarm bells ringing, not yet anyway. But it was an interesting game to watch. And then I got the Chelsea game. I think that was that the Sunday or the Monday? One of the
Monday,
two.
Monday. Yeah.
Monday night.
Monday. Chelsea finally winning. Finally winning.
Mm.
Um, Good goals as well. Levi Kowa looks a player as well, by the way. He looks a
Yeah.
real
Yep.
player. Better, in my opinion. Well, maybe not at the moment, but you probably get better than Mark Gurley. I think he'll start in the England team sooner rather than later. But yeah, Chelsea winning surprising, and United losing and
And
City losing also surprising.
Mudrik with the first goal as well.
Shame
The
finally.
dude, the dude
Yeah.
finally
That
converted. I
that
think that's what, like 24 games, 25 games,
yeah, I
first
think
goal.
it was something like that, man. I think he and Havertz were almost in a race.
Yeah,
But yeah, I think that probably explains all the weird weather that we had here in Cape Town, almost as a ripple effect. Those guys scoring, and suddenly we got like the most humid, cloudy, rainy, windy, sunny day that we've had here in Cape Town for a while.
craziness.
So a normal Cape Town day, you say?
All
Essentially,
four
yeah.
seasons.
Just,
Yeah.
just to surmise, if anybody wants to travel, any of our international viewers, That's what you have to expect, especially this time of the year. You're more likely to get one of these days.
Yep, 4 seasons in one day. Just going back to the Wolves City game. In the lead up to that game, I think it was Pep's presser where they were asking him about the Wolves players, and he referred to Huang as the Korean guy,
Yeah,
which is so funny because he was the guy that ended up scoring the winner at the end of it all. So it's like
yeah,
you can't write these things, man. Like the
Yeah.
Premier League, it's the script is amazing, and that was a nice little touch to finish that game. And I don't think that Pep Guardiola is going to be forgetting his name anytime soon.
They dig their own grave sometimes, you know.
Yeah, our friend of the show, Johnson, I think he made an Instagram reel or something just to like touch
Mhm.
on that. And I mean, it's like he's Korean himself, and um, stuff like that. Like it speaks a bit louder when it's your nationality, when it's your culture, and stuff like that. So
Yeah,
I don't think Pep will be making that mistake anytime soon again.
yeah, for sure.
But yeah, let's just shift over to our main course, which is the Liverpool versus Spurs game. The so the game was amazing. It was end to end. It had all the ingredients of a proper Premier League all-timer spectacle. And then the refereeing decisions just started throwing all of that into the bin. And Riyaz, as a Spurs supporter, I'm pretty sure that you can understand the frustrations of Liverpool supporters and the Liverpool team as well.
No, look,
What?
I actually didn't watch the second half. I was so annoyed at the game. I switched the game off. I didn't watch the second half. So even as a Spurs supporter, I let it go. I was like, no, I have better things to do. It's just ridiculous.
Yeah, but just like give me your takes on what's happened since then. The audio that's been released, the statement that's been released by PGMOL. I mean, it's not a good look on the game at the moment, and on the league itself.
Not at all. I mean, okay, let's first unpack the two that's a bit less controversial. Let's do the red card and double yellow. The red card I was okay with. Let me first say that because last week Gusto got a similar one for a less bad tackle. Not that they were both bad. I would have personally given a yellow card. I think both of them were yellows. But Gusto's one was less worse. Curtis Jones' one was a bit worse, but still both yellows. And I was happy with it because there was one thing about VAR that I personally hated from the beginning is the inconsistency. So to have two, because sometimes we get games where even on the same day there's two decisions that look the same, that they give two different ways, and that was ridiculous. So to see the
Yeah,
same tackle be given the judge the same way for 2 weeks in a row, I was happy with that. Even though I didn't think that was the right decision, I was still happy that it was the same decision. The second one, obviously, the first foul for Jota wasn't a yellow. Could have
Yeah,
let that go.
no worries.
Ridiculous. But also the second one, he shouldn't have died in like that. That was his own problem after that. So those two were fine. Technically, they were bad decisions, but they were understandable for me personally. But the offside decision, wow, that was just ridiculous. I mean, how can so my thing is how can you, because obviously now the audio has been released, right? And it wasn't even like 10 seconds after they had made the decision that they made that they realized that they made a mistake, and the ball was still in play. There wasn't an attack, there wasn't anything going on, it wasn't like anything that was important that was happening. Why can't you just stop the game? You still stop the game, nothing's happening, the ball goes out of play. You say, look, you've made a mistake, and you bring the game back and you award the goal. I mean, it's ridiculous. How can they just accept that they made a mistake and let the game carry on? That doesn't make any sense. How can they say that they can't stop the game? And as for the releasing, what is this? What is with apologies? How can they be okay with issuing an apology after the fact and then expect it to be fine? The VAR was introduced to make sure that we got the right decisions, and never mind offsides, because offsides was supposed to be a given. Those are factual things. It's either offside or you're not offside. It's VAR was more for like the red cards and the malicious tackles and things like that. So to have such a controversial moment for a factual decision is ridiculous. Like and I'm glad also that Liverpool came out to kind of sort of challenge the situation, because to have it just go under the radar again is I hear there was something also in the Arsenal Brentford game in the beginning of the year as well, where they issued an apology for an offside decision that was not correct. But to have last season in the beginning of the year, something like that. And how can you have that, especially for something like VAR? It doesn't make any sense to me, to be honest. So I'm glad that they are taking it to them now, and that hopefully something can change, because this is completely like human error is fine. We all accept that we make mistakes, but listening to that audio proves that they realized they made the mistake, but they didn't do anything about it because they were covering up for themselves. And that, like Liverpool said in the statement, that challenges the integrity of the game, which is why we all love the game. It's a great game. It's football. So to have them do that puts the whole game into disrepute and completely destroys their I don't know, I can't get to the word right now, but their credibility. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
So that's ridiculous in my opinion.
Yeah, Jason, anything from your end that you'd like to add?
Yeah, look, I obviously I saw all of the stuff. Didn't manage to catch the game. I read about quite a bit of it. I think two of my biggest points are that when VAR always shows the on-field ref when he goes to the screen, the still image. So for the instance of that red card, his first point of contact with anything is the fact that it's paused and his foot is on the leg, right? So I agree that it was a red. I think even if he gets a bit of a ball, you have to also look at some sort of a follow through and whether he endangers his opponent. I mean, if we've played football, we would know that it's not nice to get kicked on the ankle like that and it studs. And most times where we in South Africa would play like a multi-stud, they're playing with 6-stud, with metal studs. So it's something that could injure you for a long time. I think we've seen many leg breaks, many ankle breaks, many injuries that could have been avoided if players didn't have this mentality of like, okay, we know we're going to get the ball and then we're going to take the play out. And if we hurt him, it's fine because we then got the ball first. I mean, that's how things are played, but I don't fully agree with that sort of idea. And yeah, then at that offside, I'm just happy that something's come of this, because there have been too many of these instances where they've just done so badly in the implementation of this technology, which was meant to ease all of these errors that refs make. Because I mean, it's understandable if you're reffing and there's no VAR, there's bound to be mistakes. I mean, professional players have mistakes every game. Refs also have it. It's not like, I mean, human error is there for everybody in any field. In any sort of work that you do, there's that human error. So watching that offside and then the whole rationale behind it, it's shocking actually. Whether this whole game will be replayed, I strongly doubt that. Whether they change the rules now to have that instance where if they feel that they've made an incorrect decision, they then stop it again, because I think at this moment in time, once they say play on, they can't go back to that decision, if that's how I'm understanding what they were explaining it.
The phase is done,
yeah. So once that whole phase is done, once that play is confirmed as okay, checked, completed, then they obviously can't come back to it. But I do think this maybe opens them up now for a chance to actually be a bit more transparent. So now do it like rugby calls, do it like cricket calls, where you can hear what they're talking through, what they're understanding. So that also, it gives us the peace of mind where I think football fans maybe think that they know this rule and their interpretation. But if there's one interpretation and it's explained as to how they reach that decision, it kind of clears up and it improves the integrity of the decision. Because, I mean, it's long been thought that the Prem is rigged to favor top 16s. And, I mean, there's concrete evidence for that if you are like a real like conspiracy theorist. So even if you just look and all these things. But with VAR being the way that it is, it kind of does make it a bit more suspicious. So yeah, I think it would be a good time for them now to just go back to the drawing board and say, okay, let's just make it where we can improve this integrity of this whole process and just make it more clear cut so everybody understands it. Because right now, I have an interpretation, Riyaz has a different interpretation, and then AF has a different. And like you said, on the same day, two of the similar incidents have different outcomes because it's your point of view versus my point of view in the studio when it happens. So it's like that's a recipe for disaster.
I think also
Honestly.
the worst part about this specific decision was that it wasn't about interpretation at all. They
Yeah.
misheard each other or something like that.
Yeah.
Something stupid happened.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like that's just ridiculous, to be
Yeah.
honest.
Yeah. To not have a clear phrase where they say, or like I mean, rugby has it so well, right? So they will ask, okay, what are you looking for? And then this ref will say, okay, I think there was a knock up in the face there, or there was a forward pass there. Can you look for that? Where he said, okay, can you check? He had on-field decision, and then he goes, okay, check complete on, and like it's actually one of the easiest things that you can guarantee. Okay, so when we refer it, this is what we'll say. When you have checked it, this is what you'll say. It's as simple as that. That should be one of the easier things to manage than interpretation and all that stuff.
Yeah, and I feel like moving forward, there's probably going to be some extra sort of training that's going
Mm.
to be layered on top of this now, because this has basically thrown the FA and like the entire organization out into the spotlight. And I mean, the bad press is just going to keep on building over and over and all the time. So I feel like the best thing for them to do is just to try and use this as a huge learning curve, and
Mm.
to ensure that this never happens again.
Yeah.
Try to have, like Jason said, have that phrase to to just get everybody on the same page the moment
Yeah.
that communication starts. So
Mm.
in that case, being like, okay, we are checking for offside. The goal was scored. We are checking for offside. The linesman flagged offside on the field.
Yeah.
Can that decision stand? What are we doing? Just like
Yeah.
It's simplifying it.
yeah,
Yeah.
you basically like cutting out every type of margin for error over there. Like you're going
Yeah.
straight to the point. You're covering all areas, and it's just foolproof that way. People can't get upset. And I mean, with all the extra time and injury time and stoppage time and stuff like that they're adding on to games these days, like you're not really bothered about how long a VAR check is going to take,
Yes,
because
indeed.
you're covering you're taking all of those into all of those things into account. It's just so weird. I think it was Michael Owen, or I can't remember which band it was, but he said what they should have done, even after the phase was done and after they realized that they've messed things up over there, they should have communicated to the on-field referee to say that, okay, we've messed things up over here. What we want you to do is go over to the two managers, call the two captains over, let them know what's happened, and say on the restart we are going to do a drop goal, and Liverpool has a free run through on goal, and they score the goal, just to make sure everything is balanced, everybody's on the same page, and like finished, it's done. Like
But I don't understand why that's necessary though, because 10 seconds after the decision, they made the decision, they knew that it was an issue. So all that it can be avoided if they just say, look, when the next time the ball goes out of play, tell them you made the wrong decision, you made a mistake, and they will just award the goal. I mean, it's simpler than going through all this drop ball situations, which also would be a good
I don't
solution. But
I don't think that they can just award a goal though. I think they would need to, like, I think that's probably following
yeah,
processes on
Mm.
their side, drop goal, run through, score the goal, because as of that moment, that goal that was scored, it was an offside goal, so that
yeah.
immediately gets chalked away on the sheet. So
Yeah.
for them, it's basically it's following proper process and just
Mm.
dropping the ball, letting the player run through, and it's a legal goal.
So in this whole instance, right, did he ever call the ref over to the monitor to have a look himself? Or was it just check, check,
No.
check, and then okay, check complete, and then
It was
you see
two
now
seconds,
So,
check
that
complete,
so when
done.
it
yeah,
comes to offside,
yeah.
the referee doesn't get called over to the monitor.
So what is it then that they're looking for? Is that just like for like penalties and things like that
Yeah.
of that
So
nature?
it's for like violent tackles,
Handball.
Violent
penalties,
tackles.
stuff like that.
Okay, well
Yeah.
then maybe they now change that, because I mean, even for every rule there has to be like this exception, right? So if in this instance you feel like Riyaz says maybe 10 seconds after that it was incorrect, and it wasn't even that long, I think it could have been like listen to the audio, just like the first 5 seconds after they said check complete, they said wait, because they had heard somebody else's voice. So that's time you call, who is it, Simon Hoop or something, you say, Simon, just hold on. Simon blows the whistle. It's not something that we haven't seen where plays restarted and they actually stop it and say, look here, something in the ear, let me go there. Like there should have been like provisions for this sort of thing. To assume that everything was, I mean, VAR is such a crazy system. To assume that everything was going to go according to the crazy system and not have provisions, it seems a bit sus. And we only hear of these things here. You're not hearing of any other leagues. You're not hearing in. We had a World Cup, we had a Women's Euro. Everything was clear. It was concise. I mean, certain decisions obviously are not going to please every fan base, but it's the correct implementation of the technology. Where previously people would have been upset and they said, if only they could review it, because when you do Monday Night Football and you have all the guys analyzing, you say this is offside, but there was never technology to do it. Now you have the technology, and you actually made the game, I think, a bit more sus.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's crazy actually, and it's definitely going to be where things will now change, but it's always after the fact.
Yeah.
What do you
Yeah. It's
do when Liverpool lost the game or drew the game, or Sheffield was relegated because of that, or Arsenal dropped points, or there's so many teams that have been affected. And okay, maybe kudos to Liverpool for actually taking it to them. But yeah, it seems like it will continue until these rules are more.
yeah, and I think that the longer this goes on, um, the more teams are going to be challenging
Yeah,
PGMOL. Um,
yeah.
I saw Jurgen Klopp's press conference today
Mm,
for the match tomorrow, and they asked him a question about it. And normally Jurgen Klopp will give about like two or three lines or something like that, and it will be done, and you'll move over because they there to like preview um, the game for the press conference. But he actually went into detail. I think it's about 4 minutes long, that clip that Sky Sports posted onto Instagram. He went heavily into detail about his feeling about what everybody's been feeling at the club, and his view on the whole thing. And he wants the game to be replayed. I don't know if that's going to happen. I feel like Liverpool's going to try to make a huge case to try and get it happen, but I don't think it's going to happen, because then that also opens up the door to so many other teams wanting games to be replayed because of decisions that were
yeah.
unfair or that weren't correct. Um, so maybe in the future that will become a thing if issues or errors like this occur, like drastic errors like this occur in the future.
Mm,
They'll be like, okay, this was really bad. It actually costed this team quite a few points, and um, we need to give them a fair shot. This game is going to be replayed. But I don't think right now, because this is the first big one that's come about. And I just don't know how they're going to handle it moving forward. But there's a lot of work that they have to do from their side, getting all the referees on the same page, everybody in the VAR room on the same page, and they need to start getting VAR systems at each stadium. I'm very sorry. Uh, having that within the same stadium will help so much.
mm,
Um, having them all at Stockley Park for every single game, I don't agree with that.
yeah.
It's gonna cost some money, but I think that they need to they need to start integrating these systems into each Premier League stadium moving forward. Um, yeah, that's just my opinion on the whole thing. And yeah, it's not the last we're going to hear about it all. We there's going to be more and more coming out of this. Andrew's next press conference will probably be he'll probably be asked about it as well. And yeah, I actually feel bad for himself, for Andrew and for Klopp, because they're just gonna have to be fielding all these questions nonstop for the next
Mm.
couple of weeks. But yeah, I think we can sweep that one to the side for
Just
now.
wait quickly. Just before we move on, right? So I've thought about this long and hard, and I just wanted to pose this to you guys both. So there's certain games that come to mind back in the day before VAR was actually implemented, where if you had some sort of a review technology, like I'd mentioned, where they'd look at it maybe Monday night and they say, okay, this was offside, that was that. Is there a game that sticks out for you, either internationally or for your team that you support, where you felt you could have done with a VAR decision that could have possibly swayed it? So for me personally, right, I've got two games, and that's Champions League final 2006, right? Arsenal against Barca. When Jens Lehmann was sent off, Samuel Eto'o was offside, right? And it was like this. It was like a small margin, but I was like, if we had reviewed, because halftime they had showed his toe was offside, which in this modern rules would be off, right? And then the game that Arsenal lost, their 49 ungame uh, streak, was against Man United at Old Trafford, and we had lost 2-0 that game, right? Yeah. And Ferdinand's supposed to be sent off. Gary Neville's supposed to be sent off. I think Paul Scholes, because there's clips that always circulate, right? And back then there were rumors about Fergie, or not rumors. It was common knowledge that Fergie had the refs. The refs were afraid of Sir Alex, and when you go to Old Trafford, you're not going to get many decisions, right? So those are my two games. Do you guys have any games in your team's history or international teams, if you have that, where you felt
So
VAR could have been implemented?
so so I can't really think of one that immediately springs to mind about my team. Like you
Yeah,
said,
because yeah,
Sir Alex
that's
had.
because Fergie had everybody. Yeah,
Yeah.
so everything went for you.
But one thing that I think, like, you guys will agree with me on this one, 2010 World Cup, Germany versus England. Frank Lampard takes
The
that shot.
Lampard goal.
Yeah.
That
Okay.
was huge, guys.
But that's
Yeah.
not even VAR. That's like goal line. That's like goal
That's
line
but
decisions as
it's
well.
still, it wasn't
Yeah.
active at that point.
Yeah, yeah.
And that,
Yeah.
I mean, that goal could have changed the complexion of that entire game. Like, I
Mm.
think at that point it was very cagey. It was end to end. Like, both teams looked good, and
Yeah.
then I think after that goal was just, and I mean, that was,
Germany all
it was
the way, bro.
probably
Germany
about a
ran them.
meter and a half
Yeah.
across the line.
Yeah.
So I feel like that the outcome of that game would have been completely different had that goal actually stood.
Mm.
I don't have also a specific game, but I kind of want to say that I actually have more games that I have issues with, or that I can remember after VAR was implemented, rather than games that
Oh yeah. No. No.
I kind
100%.
of, you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
because like before it was implemented, it's normal. Like you,
Mm.
like things happen, and it's all good. Like you can't be in control of everything. If the guy's offside, he's offside. Like he made a mistake. It's cool. Carry on. Like nowadays, if the guy's offside, why are you not flagging offside? Like you have
Mm.
all the technology, everything that's available to you. Now they have no
Yeah.
excuse really. Whereas before, you didn't really worry about it because you understand that
Mm.
there's mistakes that can be made because everybody is human, like we said earlier. So yeah, it's difficult, but that's a good one. That England one, I remember that like it was just that was hectic. Shame.
Yeah, and I think that one, it made headlines everywhere for a long time,
Yeah.
because that was, I think, the last opportunity for that golden era of England players
Yeah.
to to clinch
To
a
actually
World
do
Cup.
something. Yeah.
Until
Yeah,
now
so
again, obviously.
Oh
um,
yeah.
but also, just to go back on that, Riaz, decisions post VAR. this handball rule in the penalty area. If somebody's kicking a ball at your arm a meter away, you have no time to. Your reaction time is like it's like less than a second.
Yeah.
I wish I could
It's
help you there,
crazy.
but I still don't know what the rule is. Because, like, so is the rule that if it touches your hand at any point, no matter what, it's supposed to be a penalty? Is that how it is?
So if your hand is close
Unnatural
to your
position.
body and it hits your hand, then it's no penalty.
Okay.
If your hand is away from your body, whether
No
it's
matter where,
natural, whether it's
how it reaches.
unnatural, it doesn't
Okay.
matter. If it's away from your body,
Yeah.
it's going to be given. It's very weird. I
But that's
mean,
also,
go for it, Jason.
yeah, no, I'm just thinking about, no, Man United against Crystal Palace. Joel Ward, was his hand not, and he's not facing the ball. And I mean, that's one instance where I think it was correct because he's like looking away and he's looking at defend like Rashford watching the ball like that and knocks his hand. But yeah, that's actually, I don't know what the handball thing, because Arsenal got a penalty against Spurs on Romero. His hand was extended away. Man United didn't get, and it was literally, I
Yeah,
think, the same amount of distance between kicker and Romero. And okay, maybe Arsenal's one,
I
he
think
was
it
in the
was like
6 yard
over
area,
here
but
somewhere.
yeah, some. But
I was
I
gonna
mean,
say,
like his arm
Yeah,
was extended in an
yeah.
unnatural position in both instances, and one gets it
yeah.
and one doesn't. So that is actually, the handball rule is something else.
Yeah, and,
I'll move
and
on.
and it happens so often. I think like over a Premier League weekend, there's probably about 3 or 4 times that people are like shining a spotlight on it and like putting those decisions under a microscope. It happened in the Dortmund versus PSG game, as well in the Champions League in game week 1,
Yeah,
where Nicolas Sule, he he was like right next to who took the shot? Was it Mbappe? I can't remember who took the shot, but they took the shot and he was like
yeah,
right next to them, and he slid to try and block the shot. And obviously, when you're doing that, you need to put your hand down to
yeah. Are you
just
sliding
like
without your hands?
yeah, like
Yeah,
you're doing that to like support your body weight or something like that, and then it hits his arm. And I mean, you can't be calling a penalty for that, man. I'm not having it at all.
yeah,
But
It's ridiculous.
no, for sure.
yeah, I think they need to start um, evaluating VAR a bit more in how it can be improved, in how it can be worked in a better way, get everybody on side, and just take it from there. Because at the
And just
moment,
have
it's
better
a bit of a
handball
joke.
rules. Just have better handball rules. Have proper handball
Yeah,
rules set out. No, have the people in the VAR room and the referee on the field tell them exactly. Look, this is what a handball is. These are the steps you're going to take to
yeah,
identify if it's a handball or not. If these are met, it's a handball. If these are not met, it's not a handball. No matter how much it hits the hand, no matter how far he is away from the fella, if these steps are taken or if these steps have happened, then it's a handball. If one of them has not happened, it can't be a handball finishing clear. Otherwise, I have no idea what's going on with it.
100%. I agree. But yeah, let's close the chapter on that one. And
Sure.
before we finish, before we finish the show today, we are going to preview a little game between Arsenal and Manchester City on Sunday. Jason, do you wanna get us get the ball rolling on that one? How are you feeling there?
Sorry, man. I just closed my eyes now because I was praying again. Look, I'm gonna tell you, this is probably the best time, and I say that all the time. I think Rodri's absence might be one of the things that we can exploit. I was watching clips of Calvin Phillips playing in that same role, and it's just like, I mean, guy looks lost. He looks like he is running at Ellen Road. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Same.
I say that, but they'll most likely just throw John Stones in there, and then they'll have a cameo from Kevin De Bruyne. I think he was supposed to be back in December. Kevin De Bruyne is probably going to be back Sunday because he loves the game
What?
against Arsenal. And when the chips are down, they step up so efficiently, man. yeah, I think Arsenal have been blowing a bit hot and cold in terms of overall performance. We've been able to get results, and okay, last night was a skewed one out of the results thus far. We've been able to grind out results, but I think this is a chance for us now to really test ourselves and say, can we actually turn up when Man City aren't playing good as well? They're not at their peak yet, and this is a good time to get them. Whether Arsenal's gonna turn up, I think Saka's out now as well. Arteta's trying to run his hamstrings off his bones. So yeah, it's an interesting one. I think feels you as an Arsenal fan. So yeah, I honestly don't know. I think I'm gonna give my score prediction at the end, but yeah, I think this is probably the best time we'll have in recent times to have a go at City and possibly sneak something.
Yeah, and also just the fact that Haaland isn't really like nobody's really talking about him at the moment. But
Oh, be
just
careful
because
with
I
that
said that
one.
now,
Yeah,
just because I said that now, I think I might have just ensured he scores that hat
Yeah,
trick on Sunday. So does that
you
mean
low
I
key a
triple
Man
captain
City
him this
supporter, I
weekend?
can hear it.
I think so. I think you should do it.
I believe.
But yeah, in all seriousness, Riyaz, on your side, where do you think the game is going to be won and lost, though?
Yeah, the midfield, of course. Without Rodri, it's going to be difficult. Well, more difficult than it usually has been, I guess. Because I mean, even though Arsenal, like you say, the performances have been blowing off, I think cold. I think no one can deny how good Declan Rice is. Neither and Martin Odegaard as well. I just think that if they play Havertz, they're going to lose. If they don't play Havertz, they will win. So I think that also without Saka, that's going to be difficult. But they have Reece Nelson, Smith Rowe, all those people. Decent players. Not obviously Saka's quality, but decent players. They can even play Jesus on the wide if they want to start in Ketia. That's also not a problem. And did you rest Ben White last night, or was he injured? Is he injured? What's going on there?
No, just a bit of a rest, but he had come on, I think, later in the game.
Yeah.
But it's
Okay.
because he's played most of the games.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Okay,
And
that's
Thomas
just
Partey is
checking.
back, right?
Yeah. Thomas Partey resumed training this week. He was on the bench last night, but
Okay.
yeah, to throw him in against City might not be like
No, it's
the
not
best.
necessary. I think
Yeah.
actually
Yeah.
when Partey played with Rice, I don't think that it worked so well because I think they played him at right back and they sacrificed Gabriel, I think, or something like that. So Gabriel started
Yeah.
on the bench. That didn't work so well, in my opinion. I think like bringing him back slowly and then maybe making him the holding and then putting Rice next to him maybe will work out a bit better. But he mustn't play on in the back line, please. Goodness me.
Yeah.
Especially when Zinchenko and him together. It's not going to work.
Yeah.
But yeah, so without Rodri, I think it's going to be a good game. I'm hoping for a draw. That'll be lovely. Just to keep it nice and tight on the top area. No one pulling away. But yeah, I
Must be
think
nice for a Spurs supporter to say something like that, eh?
look, we played two of the title contenders this season, and we came away with 4 points. You can't be more happy than that. I thought we were going to come away. I was going to be happy with 2. So coming away with 4 is a bonus. So and we got so much injuries as well, but that's neither here nor there. But yeah, so it's going to be a good game. It's going to be a title contender clash, and it's going to obviously last season Arsenal were leading the table for a large amount of time, so we can't really say that it's going to decide the championship, but it's going to be very interesting to see where the two teams are this season.
Yeah.
Nice.
Just that. I'm thinking if we can remove the emotion of it all, because I think City's used to this, right? And they have this knowledge that every time that they've stepped up against us, they've almost eight out of 10 times beaten us, right? And the two occasions that I'm thinking about is FA Cup semi-final in Arteta's first season, where he took a team of misfits, right? He had Mustafi, he had David Luiz, he had Danny Ceballos playing in that team. We had Pepe, Lacazette, Aubameyang, and I think we had Hector Bellerin at right back or something like that. And then I think the last game was Community Shield, and that also went all the way to penalties. But yeah, if we can remove this emotion and not look at, okay, this could be the make or break of our season, and just look at it, okay, this is a team that's wounded. let's try and play how we normally play and try and beat them for what it is. I think it could be good. City will just come in, and as structured as they'll be, they'll just do what they need to do. And Pep will most likely play Bernardo Silva at like centre back or something like that, and it'll work. And people will say that he's revolutionizing the game. And yeah, I'm waiting for Jack Grealish to have one of his 6 really good games in the season, because it always comes against Arsenal, be it at Man City or be it at Aston Villa. The guy always used to turn up. Yeah, AF, what do you have as the neutral watching this game, and what are your thoughts?
I'm just hoping to be entertained and the players getting points for my fantasy team. That's basically it. But yeah, like in all seriousness, I definitely think like City's a wounded animal at the moment. After last week's loss against Wolves, I think they have Leipzig tonight, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
So they're definitely going to want to bounce back against that against them, but I don't think that they'll play their full strength team tonight though, with Arsenal on the horizon. So it's going to be interesting to see who lines up tonight, and then you basically have an idea of who will end up starting against Arsenal. Ireland will definitely play tonight and on Sunday. Who's their backup strikers after Ireland?
Alvarez. Yeah,
Yeah,
Alvarez.
Alvarez,
I mean, Alvarez has been playing out of his socks recently. I think he's been getting goals now that Haaland's service has almost dried up. I'm actually quite concerned about Alvarez because he's so tricky, man. He's like, he can play 9, he can go wide, he can drop in, he can hit free kicks, he's got creativity in him. So yeah.
Somebody that I'm probably going to keep my eye on, and that's, I mean, depending on if he starts the game or not, is Nathan Ake. He just gets into these amazing positions for set pieces, and I think he's got the most amount of goals for a defender this past year since the turn of Jan, which is a pretty incredible stat, something like that. So yeah, he gets into really good positions, and he's quite strong at the back as well. So I think Nathan Ake, Bernardo Silva, Highland, those are going to be my picks from a Man City point of view. From an Arsenal point of view, it's Odegaard all the way. I mean, that guy he can do things with his eyes closed, and yeah, I'm just hoping to be entertained from both from both ends. And yeah, David Raya or Ramsdale, who do you think?
Good
Where
question.
are we going?
Yeah, I think it's definitely going to be Raya, just the way things have been going recently. And it's not
Raya
to say
played
that.
last night though.
Yeah, Raya played last night, and actually that first goal came from a bad pass from him, playing out from the back, which would have happened to Ramsdale, and it's happened to him before. I think people blew the whole thing out of proportion in that they were saying Ramsdale's such a bad keeper. Like, I think he was a big reason as to why we got 5th the season before and then got 2nd last season. Like, if I think of one half of football, it's that half against Liverpool when we were at Anfield. He single-handedly kept us in a game where we'd normally go to Anfield and get absolutely walloped. Or we left there with 1 point and maybe should have had something at the end there. But I think Raya plays just because Arteta has confidence in him right now. It's not to say that he doesn't have the same amount or has any confidence in Ramsdale. It's just, right now Raya has shown that in a system where you need to be able to play confidently from the back, I think Raya is showing all of that.
So you would continue playing Raya instead of Ramsdale?
Yeah, I think Raya showed me enough, and it's not to say that I don't think Ramsdale's good. I just think at this moment in time, Raya's on this way, and he's just doing really well. So instead of chopping and changing, let's maybe just keep it there.
Do you think that how possible is it to keep both keepers happy though?
That's exactly what I was going to say now. It's going to get to a point where Ramsdale's going to be like, I want to be number 1. I'm going to push for a move.
Because he's good enough. He's a great keeper.
Yeah, he's a great keeper. I think he seems like one of those lads that likes competition, and he'll revel in it. I think that's what happened when he came, and he he mustard burned Leno out, and I think Leno
Yeah.
actually commented on it now. This whole recent thing, he said the exact thing that happened to him was what happened to Ramsdale now. International break, Raya comes in, and suddenly Leno's not starting, Ramsdale's starting, but now it's the case where Ramsdale's not starting and Raya's starting. I think it's good to have two good keepers. It's more in the spotlight now because only one can play. But it's the same thing like having two quality left wings, right? And how do you keep them happy? You have to shuffle it around. I'm gonna trust Arteta. I think there's probably out of the 100 decisions, there's been five that I've disagreed with. So to have 95% right, I'm okay with that.
But that's the thing,
I'm
though. So, like, sorry, if you go.
no. I was just gonna say I'm just waiting for him to start making those goalkeeper subs.
Yeah, that
Mm,
that he spoke
yeah,
about.
100%.
Go ahead, Riyaz.
But I wanted to say like oh, what did I want to say? Oh yeah, so like you said, like you said that basically it's the same as keeping two left wingers happy,
Mm,
but that means you're gonna have to sub them, or you're gonna have to play one in the cups and one in the Premier League, and he
mm,
seems like he's playing Raya in all the games, cups and in the league.
uh,
So it's got to be tough, and especially when like you said, Ramsdale came in and he relishes the opportunity to challenge a
yeah,
goalkeeper like he did with Leno. But
yeah,
that was because he knew that he could win that. Now
yeah,
he's in a position where he's up against a keeper who is better than him in playing the way that the team wants to play, rather
mm,
than just being a good keeper and a shot stopper,
yeah,
which he might be
yeah,
better than Raya at, but the way the team wants to play Raya is you can see way better than he is, unfortunately. So it's going
mm,
to be, I don't know, it's going to be difficult to keep like both of them really, really happy. I hope that he can start both of them at different times and they both play equal amount of games for the season, because I think having two keepers that are so good can only advantage the team as long as both keepers know that they are both going to play.
yeah. No, for
Yeah.
sure. Glad I don't
Just
need to make those decisions.
yeah. Let's
I would
just
love
wrap
to.
with some score predictions. Jason, let's start with you there. How are you feeling?
Yeah, I'm gonna go with the Arsenal 2-1, man. And if this happens,
Woohoo!
yeah, if this happens, first round of drinks on me. Not
Is
for
that going
all
to
of
be?
our viewers and all of our subscribers, just for the guys on the pod.
Is that a Coke for me and a Coke for Riyaz?
Of course,
I'll take a water, thanks.
whatever your poison is, it's secured. 2-1 for
Riyaz,
me.
what are you thinking?
Where are they playing?
Emirates.
Emirates.
Emirates. If they're playing at the Emirates, I'm gonna go big name values, big score predictions. I'm gonna go 3-3 draw. Lots of
Wow.
goals. Lovely match to watch for the neutral.
That's most likely what Ayub's gonna say as well, or he's gonna say
I'm
4-4 something.
I'm going with a 1-1 draw.
Oh
Okay.
man,
Uh, nah, I think both teams are good defensively. So
Mm,
yeah, I'm hoping for an entertaining game. So if there are more goals, that will be great for me as a neutral, and great for my FPL team most likely.
mm,
But yeah, I think it's going to be 1-1. Both managers will try to cover all bases as
yeah,
best as they can.
for sure.
Yep.
good job.
But yeah, that is all that we have for this episode. What is it? Episode 43. I'm not
Sheesh.
mistaken. Yeah, we're getting there, guys. We're getting there.
Uh,
Uh, if you like our content, even if you don't like it, just like subscribe to our channel.
yeah,
Make us happy. Like spread the word over there. Follow us on Instagram. Follow us on X. Follow us on Threads. Follow us on TikTok. It's all at Sportycast. We will appreciate all the likes. We will appreciate all the shares. So tell your friends, tell your mom, tell your dad, tell your dog's cousin, tell everybody. Just like subscribe to our channels, and yeah, we thank you so much. Thanks again, Jason and Riaz, for popping by. Amazing co-hosts as always. I'm A for 343. Peace.
cheers, man.